I'm Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and this video is all about skiing for the first time. I am going to make your first trip and your first day on skis absolutely epic. Right now, I'm in Deer Valley, standing on the mountain right outside the Stein Eriksen, which is one of my favorite places to ski. So let's start with making your trip and your first day skiing absolutely epic. Let's start with what to do before you go skiing. First and foremost, skiing is an expensive sport, so be prepared. Everything on the mountain and everything that you do is relatively expensive. There are ways to get around and go on the cheap a little bit, but it is not worth going cheap because it just doesn't work out. Reasons for that? One, you have to have the right ski clothing. There is nothing worse than being freezing on top of the mountain. So if you don't have good ski clothes, call one of your friends, find them on Facebook who was actually skiing in the past few weeks, give them a call and ask to borrow their ski clothes. It's extremely important to have good pants, long underwear, good ski socks, fantastic gloves, or your hands will freeze all of the time. You want to have a beanie and you definitely want to have a helmet. When you are wearing a helmet, I always recommend that you get a beanie. Super important. The beanie goes on, one, to keep your head warm because there are vents in your helmet. So this is great when it's cold outside. Additionally, this space right here on your beanie will go between your helmet and your goggles like this here, and it will help you from getting an ice cream headache across your forehead. So always make sure that you get good quality equipment. Great jacket, great underwear or base layer, good quality ski socks, the whole gamut. I also recommend don't ski in sunglasses. Sunglasses are for après-ski afterwards, sitting out on the mountain having a cocktail. When you are skiing, you really need to be having good quality ski goggles. And I don't mean the 1999 version. I mean borrow your friends who paid $120 to $200 for their goggles. Also, when it comes to goggles, make sure that the goggles that you are wearing are good for bright light, like today when it's sunny bluebird day, and also when it is flat light. Flat light means you cannot see the terrain at all, and you are skiing basically blind. It's like skiing in the clouds. So you definitely want either sort of pink, orange, or yellow for when you're skiing in flat light. Make sure to go to the description below and get your ultimate ski clothes packing guide. Just go to the description and click free guide. In addition to great quality ski clothes, you want to have great quality equipment. Basically, poles are the same no matter what. You just want to get the right size. But you want to have a high quality boot, one that fits you well, one that works well, and works well for the level of skiing that you are. And I'm making the assumption that people watching this video are first time skiers. So you don't want it too loose, but you don't want your boots too tight. Additionally, you want to have some fantastic skis. Again, don't go skimping on the cost. Don't do bargain basement when you're renting skis and boots. Go to a high quality company and rent those skis and those boots. Like if you're looking at the back of your ski and you see a bunch of white, that means they haven't been waxed in a while. You definitely don't want to rent those skis. You'll be poling all day long on the flat. So good quality clothes and good quality equipment. Something that you definitely want to bring on your ski trip is high quality sunscreen. And when I mean high quality, it's for your face and you need, 50 SPF. It is so bright out here. It is so easy to get windburned. It is so easy to get sunburned out here. So make sure you are wearing sunscreen. You may be with a helmet and goggles here, and you may be having a mask up to here or a gator, but still it's very easy to get sunburn and windburn. So I know it's so much fun to come to the mountains and party all night long. There are lots of bars, lots of restaurants, lots of après-ski, and lots of people out here having a massive vacation. I do recommend you, especially your first night in the mountains, one, you get a good night's sleep, and it is very easy to not sleep well the first night at altitude, so be prepared for that if you need to bring melatonin with you. Additionally, my My recommendation is don't drink too much that first night you're going to be in the mountains and your first day skiing. There is nothing worse than skiing when you haven't slept well and you're hungover. So now that you're prepared for going skiing, these are some of the things that I recommend you do the morning of your first ski. So when you go skiing for the first time or any time, I do recommend staying as close to the ski lifts as you can. You do not want to be walking in ski boots more than about 5 minutes. They're not comfy, they're not fun, and it is a lot to handle when you're carrying your skis here. And by the way, I have a video about carrying your skis that you can watch. Carrying your poles, have all your equipment for the first time. You don't know where you're going and you don't know what you're doing. So I recommend staying as close as possible to the ski lift. If you can afford, because it's typically more expensive closer to the ski lift, if you can afford ski in, ski out, or right there at the lift, that is definitely the way to go. If you're staying far away from the lifts, make sure that your hotel has a bus or a shuttle that takes you to the lifts and back. Most of the hotels, if they're not right at the lift, do have a concierge service. So next, I recommend that if you are going to be a little bit further away, that you decide to take your skis and boots up to the lift and you store your skis and boots up there. Make it easier on you in the morning where you're wearing regular shoes. I also suggest that if you're going to store your skis and your boots, make sure that that boot storage has a heater. It is extremely important when you're putting on your boots in the morning to make sure, one, they're warm, and two, when they're warm, that hard plastic is very easy to open and get your feet in the boots. Also, when the boots are warm, your feet are basically warm all day long. I'm not sure what your schedule is and how you eat at home normally, but when you're skiing, you are expending several thousand calories more than you normally would. You're also using muscles that you didn't even know you had. I definitely recommend having a hearty breakfast. Make sure that you have a good amount of fat, a good amount of protein, and a little bit of carb. That will get you through to a delicious lunch. I also recommend at breakfast that you have some electrolytes or drink some Gatorade or something like that. It's very easy out here to get dehydrated, for your muscles to cramp, because these poor muscles don't even know what hit them. Skiing is like nothing else in the world. So good food, good breakfast, and a little bit of Gatorade. So having been a ski instructor in my 20s, I am a little bit biased, but my recommendation is if you're new to skis, then definitely take ski lessons. It is well worth taking about 3 days worth of lessons. Please do not let your brother, your sister, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or your kids try and teach you how to ski unless they are certified. It is a different sport. It is like throwing yourself in a swimming pool, never having swum before, and good luck. I hope you make it through. So having ski lessons is extremely important. It's a little bit slower pace, but it is way more fun to go on a group lesson, meet a bunch of people that you could potentially be lifelong friends with. So when you're headed up for your first day of skiing, yes, go take your lessons, but I also recommend that you have everything organized in advance. For example, I recommend that you go ahead and get your lift tickets. You go ahead and know, you get your trail map. You've already talked to information. You have all the details, because once you are carrying those skis and poles and your hat and your helmet and wearing those boots, you definitely don't want to be wandering around the base of the mountain. You want to get in, get on, and get on that lift and get up the mountain. So definitely organize everything in advance. If you're in the mountain and you decided not to get a ski instructor, make sure to stick to those green runs. Those are the ones that are the easiest way down the mountain. So as far as the runs are concerned, it's green is the easiest, blue is the middle, and black is the hardest. And the blacks are called black diamonds. So if you're new to skiing, don't head down a black diamond, and definitely don't head down a double black diamond. When you get to the base of the resort in the morning, you can check the grooming map. So if you're relatively new to skiing, you can see which runs are groomed. It's called corduroy, and it looks like corduroy, and it makes it much easier to ski on. When runs are not groomed, they get bumpy, there's fresh powder, then it's slick, and so when you're a new skier, you definitely don't want to go down those. So head towards the green runs that are on the grooming map for the day. I recommend that you take short little breaks. I recommend that you don't eat too much during lunch as well, and also limit the amount of alcohol that you are drinking on the mountain. It's just safer. I have fallen quite a few times after a couple of beers at the top of the mountain, and it's not pretty when you're coming down the mountain because you think that you are fearless, and that is definitely not the way to be when you are on the mountain for the first time. Also, when you are taking breaks, it is so much fun to sit outside and sit in the sun on a beautiful day like today, but I do suggest that you don't stay outside too long. One, your fingers get cold, and two, your feet get cold. Once you're cold, it's almost impossible to warm your body back up. So I suggest having your bigger breaks inside, and go ahead and get a table. I also suggest that you get a lower table and not a high top. A high top is harder on your legs and your feet because you have those heavy boots on. So get a shorter table, sit there, take a short break, and then go outside to get a little bit of sun, but only stay out there 15 or 20 minutes unless it's the end of the day and you're headed home. My suggestion is, if you are going to take a little bit of a challenge and take a couple of runs that are more challenging for your ability, I suggest doing it approximately mid-morning. Once your legs have gotten warmed up and you've sort of gotten your feet under you, and then before you go to lunch, that is the best time before you're exhausted but you are ready to go. That's the best time to take a little bit of a challenging run. A couple of tips to make your life easier while you are skiing: do take chair lifts that actually have footrests. If they don't have a footrest, your legs don't get the chance to rest. So I recommend taking chairlifts with footrests. And here in, I'm staying in Park City. I'm actually in Deer Valley right now, but in Park City, they have a lot of chairlifts that don't have footrests, which for me, being 5'11", means that my legs hang off the edge and they're dragging with the extra weight of the ski boot, and it wears out my legs. It makes it for a shorter day on the mountain for me. So definitely watch out for those ski lifts there. Also, you can take gondolas, which you can open up your ski boots, set your skis to the side, and go inside that gondola and keep yourself warm. Speaking of keeping yourself warm, make sure that if you're going to take off your gloves during the day for lunch or to film or to take pictures, I recommend tucking your gloves inside your ski coat, or at lunch, I recommend sitting on your ski gloves. Your ski gloves are really easy to get very cold sitting out on a table or just on the snow, so never put them on the snow. Tuck them in your jacket when you take your gloves off, or sit on them during lunch. And the final tip, as you come down the mountain and you are headed to après-ski, when you are walking around in your boots, your feet are sore and your legs are sore. My suggestion to you is to open the ski boots, but keep the buckles a little bit open where you are not flopping around. It's really bad on your boots and it's really bad on your feet to have your ski boots completely open. Once you sit down and you are having your cocktail, maybe you're having a hot chocolate with Frangelica, which is my favorite thing to have for après-ski, that is the time you can open up your boots. Hopefully also you've taken one of my prior tips and you have decided to keep your skis and boots at the lift, so you have actually changed back into your regular shoes and your feet are up and you are enjoying your après-ski for the afternoon. So I hope that you have enjoyed these tips. I would love to hear if you have any tips for your first trip and your first day on the mountain. I love hearing what other people have to say, and all these years of skiing, I want everybody to have a wonderful time and enjoy it, because this is one of my favorite things in the world to do, is to go skiing. I am Kim, the Abundant Traveler, and I look forward to seeing you on a ski slope somewhere soon, and see you on the next adventure. Mountains or beach, mountains or beach, I want both, but I do love being in the mountains. This air, it feels amazing. The light, the snow, the cold, being in the right clothes. There's nothing like it. I love being in the mountains. Let's go skiing. Shoo, 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 shoo.